organization of patients that maybe this meeting possible to do to Sigma Tau that arrive now for supporting this possibility, and to SUSI that will with electricity and with dynamism convincing all people that could be nice to do this. Now I am very pragmatical as character, and I will delineate several points, short-term and long-term activity that we can do in order to improve the knowledge of cerebrotendinous xanthomatosis. First of all, here we collected all the main people that as patients. So it could be useful to have a CTX European consortium. I proposed here two names, but we are open to other names. One could be CTX European Consortium, another European Consortium on cerebrotendinous xanthomatosis, CTX. Perhaps the best is the first one, but we can discuss also about other names. Yesterday, from a scientific point of view, we pointed several problems. The infantile form, the very severe infantile form, with some reports from literature, and the possibility that gene of CTX may be involved in the susceptibility of several neurodegenerative disorders like ALS, like other coronary artery disease. And now there is a lot of registry in several neurometabolic and non-neurometabolic disorders with some guidelines. For instance, this is a proposal for indication the elements for a European platform of rare disease registration.
Sorry, maybe you can make the slide.
Yes.
Presentation view. Accept.
This is epi-rare, and we know, and many of us participate to registry, for instance, of Niemann-Pick, of Fabry, mitochondrial disorders, and those registries started after treatment was organized and coordinated at European and international level. This is very useful because we can have a repository in which all data may be collected. Why it is very useful to have a network, a consortium, and a registry? Because we can have a larger number of patients, we can harmonize therapy, we can do very easily research on new treatments, and we can facilitate the patient support activities. On the same way, we can answer to several still open questions through large amount of patients. Early, late therapy, there is a difference or no? Responder or non-responder subjects, female, male differences, psychiatric symptoms, how they appear, and which are the main possibilities to follow and to cure. Heterogeneity in clinical progression within the same family. Heterogeneity with same mutation in different families. Genotype-phenotype relationship. And another important point, minor clinical signs in carriers. It could be very useful to have a CTX registry that, in my mind, could be divided into three main collections. Collection of clinical data, collection of genetic data, collection of biochemical data that will be put together but also may be organized differently. As all the scientific, as all the registry, we can plan to organize a scientific committee with three different coordinator, animator, people, facilitator that will try to push in the organization on this. And in my opinion, it is necessary in short time to have a new meeting for the registry in late spring, the meeting of the scientific committee that is organized by all people that has large amount of patients, organized in collaboration with Sigma Tau. Location we propose Siena, and we have to think also one young facilitator that may have contact with the other people to push on this. This is the registry. To do this, I think that we need a small economical support. Not very much, but we need 2 months salary for a doctor or a young that have to collect from our database the data and put into the registry. First of all, of course, we have to establish the registry, the rules, the scientific committee, the coordination, and everything, the property, all these rules that are classical rules of registries. So with 10,000 euros, I think that it is easy to organize, to start with the registry of the main casuistic that are at least 4 in my mind in this moment. Then the registry will be open to everybody, but we can start with our number of cases. And I will stop here to have our opinion, then we can continue to other topics.
Great idea.
So, be moderate.
Yes, you can moderate.
So,
So I think that facilitator, maybe one clinician, one molecular geneticist, and one biochemistry. When I think to the biochemical chemistry, I think, of course, Professor Björk. And the scientific community is open to everybody will participate and is active, so very democratically and we will establish, as in many consortia, also some rules for publication, for instance, how the names are put on the list of author in relationship to the number of patients. So there are classical rules that everybody knows and apply when we participate to multicentric activities. Open discussion.
Yes. Well, I think the idea is not only great, but very necessary, and we definitely should go for it. I agree with that. I also agree that the amount of seed money necessary to start it may be relatively limited and could be done.
I think 2 months activities.
Yeah, to have something to get it started. However, after that, it's going to take more effort and therefore more money, because in the end it's about people who are doing work to keep it going and to be sure that the quality of data, the data are reviewed and updated, and so to keep doing the work. So the only couple of minor additional points would be in my mind. In addition to the scientific committee, I would vote for another sort of, let's call it ethical oversight committee or something like that, which could have a representative of the patients, maybe. So, I mean, I see two things in the registry. Of course, the scientific part, which is the thoughts of what data are the relevant data and how they should be collected and all that stuff. This belongs to the scientific committee. But then I think there should be a different committee or that includes
yes,
opinion of the patients on how this is.
We will discuss later on the problem of feminism.
Okay, great. And then another thing is we will need, these protocols will have to include the informed consent protocol. Maybe we can develop one harmonized informed consent protocol, because then we go back to our institutions and the protocol will have to be approved by our ethical committees.
Yes, of course. All the rules that follow the registry.
Yeah,
so
sure.
This is international rules that we have to follow the international rule for registry, for property of data, for
consent,
consensus, and also to come into the registry. It's not possible to everybody to enter into the register, but the scientific committee will evaluate
the cases.
Cases and will evaluate the finality, the aims, and the research project, and so on. So I think that in my time organization for this, I think that in the spring we will have a meeting of the restricted scientific committee in Siena in order to organize all the bureaucratic organization of the consortium and registry, and then we will start putting our data, so it could be for the end of summer the possibility to have completed the collection of data from Spain, France, Germany and Italy.
Well, as I was saying, for Spain it will not be so easy. It's not that we go to a
so we will try to do, and we will convince, we will try to have 10,000 euro to pay a fellow,
few months, young neurologists to do the work.
And could be in this registry also, if we can, but we will do also put data of neuroimaging, because they are very interesting, because we can compare, we can do some morphometry, we can do some data, new approach to the anatomical basis of this, that could be also very important.
Well, the only thing maybe I would add to that scientific committee, I would very much encourage the registry to have an informatics expert member in the committee. And the reason for that is that I really believe that in the end, if we want to really take advantage of all those data, it's better that we have the advice of people who are knowledgeable in how we are organizing the data, and make sure that we will be ready to really make comparison and ask questions.
I am more practical. I think that we have to start with very simple things in order to have a starting point, and then we can improve everything. But if we will, so I have a long experience in tentative to organize big computerized registry. We had 3 years discussion about the protocol. At the end, everybody was tired and was finished with nothing. So I would like to be practical and to try to have some small thing that we can do by ourselves with some easy support, and then if the things are as I think, as I am confident will be good, we can improve bioinformatics and everything. But we can start by ourselves with some small support to put into the data and to start to learn more about the large cases.
That sounds reasonable.
Another comment from the floor? Barrett's?
No, I fully agree, and I would like to collaborate.
Professor Bjorken?
Well, I'm
What
also
do you think?
positive. I think it's good to not to be too ambitious from the beginning.
Yes. It is necessary to be practical because it's a very bad experience in the past when we would like to conquer the world, but
Yeah.
it was not possible.
That is completely true. Actually, I've been involved with trying to set up in Spain the taxia registry, and it's exactly as Professor Federico is saying. Is we just had 3 or 4 meetings discussing what fields should go in, and then someone, we wanted to restrict it to a few fields, but then someone comes and says, no, I want to know whether the neuropathy is axonal or whatever, what is the conduction speed and so forth, and then so we never did anything. If it gets too complicated, then we just don't have anything in there. You're totally right.
Okay, so this is first point, we agree, and we can go on the second point. The second point is the need to have a consensus article on treatment of CTX. And this consensus article is very important in this moment in which the possibility of therapies are on the discussion of the regulatory agents in Europe and in United States. So I think that our group of experts in this disease, and I include also some American people, if we don't consider a European consensus, but a general, a world consensus on treatment on CTX, may be done, need to be done within the next 3-4 months. And is our possibility and our work that maybe do in the next months to coordinate and to put a working group, a task force that is the same people that presented here, cases that has an experience on CTX with some people of the United States to write consensus on treatment, the chenodeoxycholic, cholic acid, statins, other treatments, and so on. What do you think on this?
Oops.
I think it's a good idea, but and I also think that it may be of interest to have some contact with the US research about this.
Yeah.
As an example, my colleague Ken Sepchen, Cincinnati, I think he has now a firm of his own with the intention to produce cholic acid to treatment patients with CTX. And as far as I know, the price for this is
Yes, I received a phone call by Patel that was interested to participate to this consensus, and also we can contact other people. There is no problem. We can start and we can also contact American people that are not so much, but we can add and write a consensus. I don't know if we can have we can differentiate, but this is a matter of discussion. Differentiate a consensus on therapy, all therapies, or a consensus on different therapies. How is the state of art and the data from literature about treatment? There are many technical way to have a consensus on therapy, a strategy, technical strategy. One is grade system, that is collection from data from literature and analysis of data from literature, and then evidence of data, and we can have different level of evidence, 1, 2, 3, in relationship to the strong evidence or not so strong, organized according to grade system. In this moment, I am particularly involved in this process because I am the chairman of the Scientific Committee of European Academy of Neurology. So we produce guidelines like American Academy and also practical guidelines, therapeutical guidelines, where is a big problem, and we try to have a big scientific data and control, because you know what is back on these therapeutical guidelines. And there is an informatics working with us, an Austrian informatics that follow all the grade system and control from an informatic point of view this part. So we can ask them to follow the data and to try to enter, or we can do a consensus more simple on the basis of the classical literature data, not so evidence type 1, 2, 3, 4, and general comments, every statement with vote and other rules.
Just a comment. I believe that it would be a very great step forward if we can get a consensus that patients with CTX should be treated to a point where the levels of C4 or 7-alpha-hydroxycholesterol is normalized.
Yeah.
Alla. Sì, hola. Okay. Without but if they can be treated to a point where you have normalized levels of 7-alpha-hydroxycholesterol or C4, that would be a very, very good goal for the treatment. And then it's not so important if you use chemotherapy acid or folic acid. If you can reach that point, I think that is well scientifically grounded that we could have normalized these levels.
Yeah.
I think that would increase the quality of the treatment. If we do that.
Yeah.
We have heard some examples of treatments where you have still tenfold increased levels of C4. I think that then the patients will be treated harder with higher doses. That's my personal opinion.
Yes, we can start, for instance, discussing the different treatments and what are the data from the literature about the different treatments, and then the final conclusion is this one that it is necessary to have a treatment until several parameters will be on this data. So, I think that if we will be able in next month to put up this task force and to work on this, and also to have some support for traveling, for exchanging data, etc. I think that will be very, very good.
Yeah, I mean, yes, another very important goal definitely to have a guideline consensus on therapeutic strategy. I don't know if the patients received the translation for this discussion going on because there was a microphone. Los pacientes, lo resumo un poquito rápidamente.
Yes, mi mantenimiento está en ello.
Okay, so let me just very, very quickly summarize for the patients what is the discussion about. Se está discutiendo que sería muy importante escribir en los próximos pocos meses un artículo, un trabajo que resuma cuáles son las recomendaciones actuales de tratamiento para la sintomatosis, en base a un comité de expertos, porque para establecer este consenso y que todo paciente, esté donde esté en Murcia, esté donde esté, reciba ese tratamiento, porque eso es lo que dice el consenso que hay que recibir. Entonces, we all agree that has to be done, and that would be one of the very important next step goals. Eso es importante. Y la siguiente discusión fue, hay varias maneras de hacer este consenso, mirar qué es lo que hay en la literatura y qué grados de evidencia hay para que un tratamiento funciona o no funciona, y la otra forma es hacerlo simplemente opiniones de expertos que con experiencia en tratamiento y discutir y llegar a un consenso. So I was just summarizing for them the options for these consensus on treatment, and my question would be regarding the possible systematic approaches to consensus guidelines. The first approach, isn't it a bit too difficult for rare diseases where it's so difficult to have really scientific evidence with numbers and support? Isn't it, for rare diseases, isn't it more, the second approach, isn't it more reasonable?
I think it's always reasonable because the literature, there are data, and I will discuss with the guideline group on the first weekend of February in Vienna about possibility to have a task force supported by European Academy of Neurology to have a consensus on treatment of cerebrotendinous xanthomatosis, and there is some support if the guideline group will think that we can have reasonable data, I think that we will have the support, and we have to conclude the work within 18 months. This is the rules for European guidelines. Okay, another step is discussing